Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to Shed Your Menopausal Middle and Revitalize Your Life in 6 simple steps. We've got quite the crowd here today, so we're going to run it in listen-only mode, but we've got the wonderful Casey running the show, running the slides, running the chat room, and we'll have time at the end for any questions. Hopefully I'll get a chance to answer all of them. If not, you can always reach out to me on email. Okay, so as we all know, the menopausal transition can be pretty tricky. It certainly was for me and most of the women I've worked with. So today, my aim is to provide you with a deeper understanding of what's happening, why you're struggling with bothersome symptoms. And speaking of that, as a little icebreaker, why don't we all put our name, where we're from, and our most bothersome menopausal symptom. So we're all struggling with bothersome symptoms such as belly fat, bloat, weight loss resistance, mood swings, fatigue, the list goes on. And the steps to start reversing them now. Sound good? Okay, let's get to it. Next slide, please. Menopause has gotten quite a bad rap over the years, and for good reason. Out of the blue, we get knocked off our game by a constellation of symptoms we don't understand, zapping our energy and our self-confidence. No wonder our libidos are MIA. The menopausal journey can be a bumpy road with a lot of unexpected hairpin turns for sure. Next slide. It's kind of like the feeling of being out of order, right? This woman is definitely not feeling her best and most likely frustrated and confused by the information or lack of helpful information available to her. She's feeling stuck and most likely doing nothing about her symptoms. Meanwhile, she's stressed out, not sleeping well, exhausted, plagued by hot flashes and night sweats, in some serious brain fog. And those pants of hers are getting tighter by the day. If these symptoms are feeling way too familiar to you, I've got some good news. Next slide. No matter how bad it may seem right now, there are solutions. This is not our mother's menopause. We no longer have to suffer in silence, feeling tired, bloated, overweight, foggy-headed, and feeling older than our years. We now have the knowledge and tools to reverse, decrease, and even eliminate these symptoms so that we can get back to the way we used to look and feel before all of this hormonal havoc took over. And that is what we will be discussing here today. Next slide, please. So these are just some of the things you'll be learning today. Why you are eating and exercising the same as you always have, but getting no results, and how to turn this around. This, by the way, is the #1 question I am asked day in and day out by women so frustrated by this phenomenon. Why eat less and exercise more is just about the worst advice ever. We'll really dive into this one because it's like my biggest pet peeve in life. Why and how you should eat for your hormonal response to food. Instead, this is the real deal. And we will really, really look into this pretty thoroughly, and you'll get a better understanding of what this is all about. It's the ticket. And finally, why a simple mindset change is your secret weapon to shedding that menopausal middle, and so much more. Next slide, please. Okay, who hasn't felt like this? And by the way, one of the reasons I do not recommend using a scale to assess your progress, you just eventually end up like this. This is the face of weight loss resistance. She's eating and exercising the same as she always has and getting no results, or even worse, gaining weight. No matter what she does, the scale is not moving in the right direction. So very frustrating. Next slide, please. Why is this happening? Well, just like all the other symptoms you may be experiencing, it's hormonal. That's why it's called stubborn hormonal weight gain. So basically, rapidly declining estrogen and hormonal fluctuations starting in perimenopause can trigger insulin resistance. This means we really have to be careful when it comes to eating sugar and anything that gets metabolized to sugar. Pretty much all carbohydrates, especially the refined ones, because we have this decreased ability to process carbohydrates sufficiently. That's really why we can't eat and exercise the way that we used to and expect any results. It's because of this. So instead of being converted to energy, excess carbs can get stored as fat. And eating more than your metabolic capabilities can handle will result in weight gain, increased body fat, and an increased risk of chronic health issues. You will also accelerate the aging process. Yikes, I know. But that's a story for another day. Next slide, please. So before we go on, I think this is a good time to dispel the number one myth about menopausal weight loss. Eat less and exercise more. Oh my gosh, for decades, the standard advice for women struggling with hormonal weight gain in peri through postmenopause has been to eat less and exercise more. It's like the medical mantra. I'm sure you've all heard it, and it's just about the worst advice ever. The truth is, this advice has caused mass frustration and failed weight loss attempts among menopausal women everywhere and is totally counterproductive to the goal in mind. And there are 5 main reasons for why this is true. Next slide, please. Well, it causes increased stress. Restricting calories and overexercising causes stress on the body. This can lead to hormonal imbalances, as increased stress can result in increased cortisol levels, negatively affecting thyroid function and leading to weight gain, especially around the middle. In addition, stress is the primary issue if you are doing everything right and you still have belly fat. In menopause, cortisol spikes up 74% and is basically running the show. So, stress definitely is a huge factor. All right, it causes estrogen levels to plummet, putting you in a state of hormonal havoc. Weight may come off quickly at first, but at a cost to your mood, appetite regulation, and sleep, resulting in weight regain. It causes your metabolism to slow. When we restrict calories and overexercise, our bodies go into starvation mode, slowing down our metabolism to conserve energy. This most often leads to slower weight loss and more difficulty in maintaining any weight loss results long term. It causes increased hunger. Restricting calories and overexercising can make you hangry. I'm sure we've all been there, which is the biggest obstacle to weight loss there is. I mean, if you're starving, are you really going to stick to any plan? The answer is no. It leads to overeating or even a full-on junk food binge, negatively affecting our hormone balance and overall health. And lastly, it's just way too simplistic for the complex situation of hormonal weight gain. And honestly, if it worked, all of my nutrition colleagues and I would be out of business. Next slide, please. So, although we all have our own unique menopausal transition, there are some specific common occurrences most of us experience. The following are the primary changes our bodies go through starting in perimenopause and the causative factors for most of our symptoms. So our metabolisms begin to slow. Woo! Approximately 5% for each decade over 40. And we need less calories. So I would never say they don't matter at all. But what matters more is not so much the quantity, but the quality of our calories and our hormonal response to them. That's the real deal. And we'll be, as promised, we will get into that very fascinating story in just a little bit. Our muscle mass begins to decrease and we can't burn off fat as efficiently as we once did. This is one of the big reasons why it's so important to do strength training exercise and to eat to feed your muscles. We need more protein in menopause. You know, the recommendations years ago used to be as we got older, we need less protein. Not true. We actually need more, especially in menopause. So our body fat increases, especially around our middle, because we can't burn off fat as efficiently as we once did. You know, it starts to accumulate in your belly, and this is known as deep visceral belly fat. This is not the pinch an inch, jiggly wiggly belly fat. This is the much more dangerous fat that surrounds our internal organs and increases our risk factor for most chronic health issues in postmenopause. We start becoming more insulin resistant, making it harder to efficiently break down carbohydrates and burn them for energy. Our stress hormone, cortisol, increases, causing more belly fat. You know, we have 4 times more cortisol receptors in our abdominal adipose tissue. And that is one of the big reasons why fat goes right to our belly. Our digestive enzymes decrease, causing gas, bloat, and acid reflux. Hormones are our most powerful messengers in our body. When they go wonky, they affect every organ system, even our digestive function. So that's just showing you how crazy our hormones are and what an effect they have on our body. So, senior moments. Well, at this point, if you are wondering why you're here, you're not the only one. Just kidding. Well, our menopausal mojo takes a serious hit. It's not hard to see that after all of this, your self-confidence or menopausal mojo may take a little bit of a nosedive. Next slide, please. I know that is quite a long and alarming list, but the good news is, there's always good news, right? By tweaking our diets and lifestyles a bit, we can greatly improve our outcome and help to reverse or even prevent these issues from happening in the first place. And it all begins with a mindset shift. So, starting in perimenopause, due to our rapidly declining and fluctuating hormones and the effect that has on us both physically and mentally, our self-confidence can take quite a hit. This can actually prevent us from reaching our goals and potential because it throws us into a negative mindset about ourselves and our abilities. I think it's safe to say we've probably all been there. So the very first step in getting back to ourselves is to make a simple mindset shift through a technique I call the Mojo Mindset Visualization. Now, maybe not with this crowd, but I know visualizing may sound a little woo-woo, but it is really totally backed by science. It's such an underused free tool, and in my opinion, and that of many others, is the most important first step to any weight shedding or wellness plan. I like to think of it as an inside-out approach to reaching our goals. And guess what? It's actually really quite fun. Next slide, please. So the Mojo Mindset Visualization is a simple 2-step system that helps you to shift the mental image you currently have of yourself now to that which you desire. The complete instructions for this will be in your workbook that you'll be getting after this presentation. So I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but just kind of outline it. So step one, you're going to visualize it. You're going to just spend 5 minutes in the morning and before bed seeing yourself at your desired end results. And more importantly, how you will feel when you get there. Step two is about affirming it. So you're then going to create a mantra. I call it the Mojo mantra. And there's a little example right there that affirms your visualization, inspires and motivates you. And then look at it throughout the day as a reminder. You can make it your screensaver, you can put on your refrigerator, whatever. Just kind of make an effort to look at it during the day. Play around with this. It's really more powerful than you may think. So now that we've addressed the all-important mindset component of this plan, it's time to switch our focus to the get down and dirty dietary and lifestyle steps to shedding that belly. But first, what exactly is a belly? Well, it's a combination of belly bloat and deep visceral belly fat. It's the number one complaint among women ages 38 to 65, and even the small percentage of women, very small, who don't gain weight in menopause report a thickening of their middle. In my private practice and most of my online courses, my focus is mainly on helping women to shed their menopausal middle, or what I call belly for short. Not only because it's the most annoying symptom or a giant mojo crusher, but because by shedding it or even reducing it, all other hormonally related symptoms are made better. But that's not all. The very best bonus of all, shedding your menopausal middle, helps to decrease your risk factor for most chronic health issues in postmenopause: heart disease, strokes, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and certain cancers. How is that for a bonus? Next slide, please. So, where did this uninvited intruder come from? It evolved from a combination of causes, but just like weight loss resistance, the primary cause is hormonal. So, primary cause is those rapidly declining and fluctuating hormones starting in perimenopause. This is going to happen no matter what. We're not going to focus too much on this. We are going to focus on what's most important, and that is addressing the secondary causes, which will in turn help to naturally balance your fluctuating hormones. And that is what we are focusing on today. So, your secondary causes, your diet and lifestyle choices, digestive and detoxification capabilities, stress level, there's that stress again, and your quality of sleep will either fuel your belly or stop it in its tracks. Next slide, please. How to kick it to the curb. Your gut, liver, and adrenals, those little glands are no bigger than a walnut and sit on top of your kidneys, are all intimately connected with your hormone regulation. If your hormones are wreaking havoc, it's a sign that these three areas need a little TLC so they can do their jobs. This is a 3-step and systematic approach that we will go through in detail. There's that eating for your hormonal response to food again. What does this mean? Well, it's about eating in a way that works with your hormones, not against them. And as promised, we will dive into this in just a bit. Okay, excuse me one second. Hydration. Hydration is so important for your general health, but in regard to our purposes, it's important for shedding excess bloat and cleansing your fat-burning organ of your body, your liver. We're going to need to make some lifestyle hacks for happy hormones. So your lifestyle is equally as important as your diet, and you will see why. And last, test, don't guess. There are some specific tests that can help identify common root causes in menopause, saving you time, money, and tons, let me repeat, tons of frustration. We will discuss the importance of a comprehensive blood chemistry that includes important markers for the menopausal years. And I have also included a copy of this in your workbook. Next slide, please. Okay. As I said, your gut, liver, and adrenal glands are all intimately connected with hormone regulation, and we'll address each of these three areas one by one. Next slide, please. Okay. Phase one is to beautify your belly inside and out. Research shows that your gut health plays a significant role in hormone regulation. If you have leaky gut or dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of gut flora, it can cause significant hormone imbalances. So the focus here in this phase is on removing foods that are digestively unfriendly, nourishing the gut, optimizing digestion, elimination, and absorption, which will get you on your way to shedding the belly bloat component of your menobelly. So that's step one. And here is how we're going to do it. So we're going to avoid sugar because it is not only digestively unfriendly, it's honestly really the most digestively unfriendly food, but hormonally unfriendly as well. And if that wasn't enough of a reason to avoid it, it's age promoting, as I mentioned before. It damages collagen and causes cross hatching and wrinkling of the skin. Just thought I'd throw that in. I know that works for me. You're going to avoid gluten and dairy containing grains because they are common food sensitivities and bloat producing culprits. You're going to try and include some gut healing foods in your diet, and this list is also included in your workbook. Slow down and chew sounds so basic, but it's so important. Most people just shovel food in, not even thinking about the whole chewing and absorption process. But eating fast and hardly chewing your food is a recipe for digestive dysfunction. Plus, it takes 20 minutes for your belly to tell your brain that you are full. So, and this takes work, practice taking a bite of your food, then setting your fork down and not picking it up until you have completely chewed and swallowed. You may just have to sit on your hands. As I said, this is not easy. It's not an easy habit to break, but so worth it. It takes a week or so, honestly, till you master this. Eating when stressed causes our digestive enzymes to take a detour, leaving us with gas and bloating. Also, eating when stressed causes more fat to be deposited in cortisol-sensitive abdominal fat cells, resulting in belly fat. Try this very weird trick. Smell your first forkful of food. This weird little trick takes you from a sympathetic state of stress to a parasympathetic state of calming, so you can digest your food better. Give it a try. Take a full spectrum probiotic before bed to feed your gut with good bacteria. Every woman over 40 should be taking one. And signs that you need probiotics include gas and bloating, skin issues, you might be constipated, you might have the opposite. It goes on and on. And also, you're getting sick a lot. So your immune system probably is not its strongest when you need probiotics. That's a big sign. Taking a full spectrum digestive enzyme before meals. If you are feeling gassy and bloated soon after eating, that's a sure sign you need one. Okay, next slide, please. Phase two is to love your liver. Your liver is your largest internal organ. Most people are aware of its detoxifying role, but unaware of its belly fat burning capabilities. Your liver can either burn fat or create it, depending on how you take care of it. When your liver is running efficiently, it burns fat, breaks down and excretes excess hormones, and activates metabolic hormones. But when it becomes overburdened, metabolism is slowed, hormones build up, and the switch is flipped from fat burning to fat storage. Obviously, this is not what we are aiming for. Next slide, please. So again, avoid sugar, fried foods, and excess alcohol. Studies show that sugar is as harmful for the liver as alcohol. That's pretty extreme when you think about it, right? I mean, alcohol is a poison to your body. And now they're saying that sugar is just as bad for your liver as alcohol. It's pretty wild. It causes a buildup of deep visceral belly fat in your liver. Women are twice as susceptible to non-alcoholic liver disease as men. I know, not fair. Eat as organically as possible and avoid hormone scrambling GMOs in your diet. In addition to them being harmful in general to your health, they are especially harmful to your gut health, causing imbalances of our pre and probiotics, as well as causing decreases in our naturally occurring digestive enzymes and stomach acid. They are banned in most European countries because they are viewed as a health and environmental risk. Most of the GMOs are used in the United States. Sad, but true. Try to include some of these liver cleansing foods, and I gave you a list of these as well. Swap your toxic home and personal care products for non-toxic alternatives. This is so important because this is a sneaky way that toxins build up. And according to the EPA, our indoor environment is 2 to 5 times more toxic than our outdoor environment. And on average, we are spending about 90% of our lives indoors. One thing we can all do is check all of our household and personal care products for toxic ingredients and toss if necessary. And replace with natural alternatives. There are so many good ones on the market. You probably know of them. Okay, so this is one of my favorite things. Dry brush your skin before you shower. Dry brushing your skin with a special brush for this purpose, available online or in health food stores, stimulates and supports improved functioning of our lymphatic system and enhances the body's natural detoxification process. It is also a fantastic method for exfoliating the skin as well as energizing your body. It's so invigorating, you will soon become totally addicted. Promise on that one. I get so mad when I forget to do it before a shower because it makes such a difference. Okay, rebound daily using a mini trampoline called a rebounder. Remember these? They were really big in the 70s. Well, they've made a comeback big time. It's so much fun, and just 3 minutes in the morning and the evening helps to totally flush your entire lymphatic system. I honestly could talk about this all day, my love of rebounding and all of its benefits, but I'll just tell you to Google it. I think you'll be impressed. Next slide, please. Phase 3 is to adore your adrenals. Your adrenal glands are responsible for so many important functions, including balancing your blood sugar, pumping out your stress hormones, and producing your sex hormones when your ovaries retire. You cannot achieve hormonal happiness without healthy, happy adrenals, and trying to balance your hormones with exhausted adrenals is like pouring water in a leaky bucket. Even women that decide that HRT is for them, they would get a much better result if they healed their adrenals ahead of time. Okay, next slide, please. All right, here we go. Avoid sugar. Are you seeing a trend here? One of the jobs of your adrenal glands is to balance your blood sugar. Eating sugar imbalances your blood sugar and leads to sweet cravings, fatigue, and a weak immune system. Prioritize protein. Eating lean protein throughout the day helps to nourish your adrenals, balance your hormones, keep your blood sugar stabilized, keep you energized, and your appetite in check. We really have to focus on that protein. Don't be fat phobic like that terrible, terrible diet in the 80s, if you remember. Fatty acids are the backbone of hormones, and your adrenals need healthy fats to produce all of the necessary hormones they are responsible for. Cut down on caffeine. It causes the adrenals to secrete adrenaline, which can cause adrenal fatigue. Great alternatives are going half calf, switching to green tea, or some of those very weird sounding but actually good mushroom coffees out there. Prioritize sleep. I know, easier said than done, but without adequate sleep, hormones cannot be made, period. Believe me, as a sleep challenged person, I know that, as I said, it's easier said than done, but making an effort to improve your sleep hygiene can really make a difference in the amount and quality of the sleep you get. Exercise appropriately. Over-exercising after 45 not only breaks down your body, it encourages abdominal belly fat, and a gazillion crunches aren't going to do a thing to help you. If you are tired after exercise, it's a good sign that your adrenals are in need of some TLC. Exercising at too high an intensity, too long a duration, and too much cardio will further exhaust your adrenals, causing hormone fluctuations and weight gain. Instead, focus more on strength training, calming exercises like yoga and Pilates, and engage in only low impact cardio like walking and rebounding. So again, you really want to ask yourself after exercise this simple question: am I exhilarated or am I exhausted? And then tailor your routine accordingly. Focus on stress reduction. Stress is a gigantic cog in the weight shedding and hormone balancing wheel. It's generally the culprit if you are doing everything right and still not reaching your goals. Calm down stress hormones with some calming practices like meditation, deep breathing exercises, calming exercise like yoga, and most importantly, by laughing and having fun. Perfectionism can lead to adrenal fatigue. Aim for good enough, not perfect. There's no such thing anyway. Next slide, please. Okay, step 3, eat for your hormonal response for food. Finally, the foods that we choose to eat have the biggest impact on our wellness and hormonal balance and can either work for or against us, especially once perimenopause hits. So, as I said earlier, where we used to be able to eat more carbs and maintain our weight and energy, that's no longer the case for most of us. Due to the combination of hormonal fluctuations that start in perimenopause and just aging in general, we start to trend towards insulin resistance and can no longer efficiently break down our carbs into energy, storing the excess as fat. So, yes, after perimenopause, things get real. And it is mainly our dietary and lifestyle choices that determine how our wellness story will play out. If we want to remain vibrant and healthy through our 40s and beyond, we need to make some dietary and lifestyle adjustments. Next slide, please. So we need first and foremost, we need to avoid these hormonally unfriendly foods. All of these foods cause inflammation. Inflammation is associated with belly fat and is a risk factor for chronic health issues such as diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, etc. In addition, they accelerate aging, as I've said before, by glycosylating, which is the same thing as caramelizing your cells, causing wrinkling of the skin and age spots. I am not ashamed to admit that that little fact helps to keep me on track. Next slide, please. So at this point, we now all know that sugar and foods that quickly turn to sugar are not the way to go. But I'm not sure if you know that eating them makes all your menopausal symptoms worse. And by the way, drinks that are high in sugar affect you even worse than foods that are high in sugar. They get into your bloodstream much faster, causing a blood sugar high, an insulin surge, and then a blood sugar low. End result, you're hungrier, crave sweets, and store more fat. Next slide, please. Oh boy, this is a sore subject, I know. Alcohol, especially wine, is like sugar on steroids. Sadly, this is one of the top reasons for not being able to burn off that stubborn belly fat. Also, the number one reason for those night sweats and that 2 a.m. wake up call. We've all been there multiple times, I'm sure. Luckily, there are wineries that are making high quality, clean, and sugar free wines that do not have such a downside to them. If you're going to indulge, play it safe and go with an imported wine from a country that does not allow GMOs and other additives. So, to recap, all of these hormonally unfriendly foods in the last few slides promote fat storage. Next slide, please. While all of these healthy and hormonally friendly foods encourage fat burning instead. First up, protein is made up of amino acids that are needed to make hormones. A study from the University of Missouri found that women who ate a high protein breakfast, 35 grams, felt fuller. Is that really a word? It doesn't sound right, but I guess it is. And were less hungry throughout the day and saw favorable changes in the hormones and brain signals that control appetite. As a result, the women noticed a reduction in mindless snacking, ate a smaller dinner, and fewer nighttime snacks. In contrast, starting the day with a low protein breakfast or no breakfast at all made the study subjects more likely to graze on unhealthy, high calorie, but low nutrient foods throughout the day, especially at night. I know you're all wondering about intermittent fasting right now. So your breakfast is whenever you start eating, okay? It doesn't have to be first thing in the morning if you're doing intermittent fasting. We could talk about intermittent fasting in a little while. I have some thoughts on that. So, okay, healthy fats. Do not be fat phobic. Like I said before, we need good, healthy, anti-inflammatory fats to keep our hormones balanced, our metabolisms revved, our energy up, our skin and hair looking youthful, and our belly fat at bay. We are talking about nuts, seeds, avocados, avocado oil, coconut oil, ghee, olive oil, wild fish here. By the way, in your workbook, you will have all of this information. So you can stop scribbling on a notepad. Okay, fruits and veggies contain gut healthy fiber. Aim for at least 25 grams of fiber a day. Most people, by the way, are not even getting 15. So fruits and veggies contain fiber, vitamins, minerals, and anti-inflammatory antioxidants that can help to decrease belly fat. Complex carbs also contain gut healthy fiber. This is where you want to get the most bang for your nutritional buck by choosing well. Herbs and spices, they are all health promoting, so use them generously. All of these foods together help to balance your hormones. They do not cause an insulin spike. If insulin is kept in check, all the other hormones behave. You know that saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy? Well, that's insulin. Insulin is mama. Okay, next slide, please. Hydration. It is so important to stay hydrated. It sounds weird, but you actually need to drink water to flush out excess water. And if you don't properly hydrate your body, it will hold on to excess water, which is bloat, as a protective mechanism. If you're even slightly dehydrated, your metabolism can slow up to 15%, causing fatigue and weight gain. Hydrating properly with water helps to naturally flush your system of bloat, toxins, excess blood sugar, transport your nutrients, rev your metabolism, boost your energy, stimulate digestion, and prevent constipation. Bottoms up. So, water has a huge job in our body, wouldn't you say? Next slide, please. This is the best way to start your day. Get everything moving and rev up your energy and metabolism. Once you get in the habit, you won't even have to think about it. Start your day with a shower on the inside. V- Just think about this visual. Starting your day without taking a shower on the inside is like putting makeup on an unwashed face. Gross, right? Then you follow that up with one 8 to 12 ounce glass before each meal and sips throughout the day. At first, I know you will be running to the bathroom more frequently, but that will regulate itself out after, a week or so, and you won't be doing that. So, how much water do you need? Aim to drink half your body weight in ounces of water per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you need to drink about 75 ounces of water per day. Next slide. Okay, step 5, lifestyle hacks. Without making some simple lifestyle hacks, you can sabotage all of your good hormone balancing intentions. I see this all the time in my practice. Just implementing the dietary steps without also addressing the lifestyle steps will stand in the way of you achieving your goals here. So stop eating 3 hours before bed to optimize sleep, as eating too close to bedtime will end up disturbing your sleep. Poor sleep causes your body to secrete ghrelin, our appetite stimulating hormone, and decrease leptin, our appetite suppressing hormone, and is a huge causative factor in midlife weight gain. Reset your circadian rhythm first thing in the morning for better sleep. So, as adults, our circadian rhythm dictates that our most restorative sleep is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Getting outside first thing in the morning in sunlight for at least 10 minutes helps to reset our circadian rhythm. Lower your stress hormones by taking 4 deep abdominal breaths every hour. Set your alarm on your phone until this becomes a habit. It's so worth it. This is because in menopause, cortisol, as I said, spikes up 74% and is basically running the show. It causes an increase in blood sugar, which increases insulin, which encourages hunger and cravings for carbs, which stimulates glucose production and ultimately goes to fat storage. And I'm sure by this point, you can guess where. Spend time in nature. Studies have shown that there are actual clinical stress reducing benefits to spending time in nature or even bringing nature into your living space. So schedule some outdoor time each day and fill your living space with air purifying plant babies and watch the benefits roll in. Make time for fun. Seems so simple, right? But guess what? As we get older, it happens less and less, doesn't it? Laughing and participating in enjoyable activities has so many health promoting, stress reducing benefits. So, just like you schedule other appointments in your life, make sure and schedule in some fun activities as well. Your adrenal glands will thank you. Next slide, please. All the steps of this plan are equally important for achieving and maintaining a healthy hormone balance. Step 6 is particularly important because the test don't guess approach allows you to cut to the chase and provide important information and an invaluable roadmap to what you may need to work on. In my practice, when appropriate, I use a variety of science-based functional medicine testing to uncover and heal the source of my clients' weight resistance and wellness issues. This approach yields the best and quickest results, and in the end, saves time, money, and tons of frustration. Trust me. Here's an example. So, have you ever been told by your doctor everything's normal when you feel anything but? I bet, and you're not alone. Many of my female clients will come to me so frustrated from their routine physical visit, where despite all of their symptoms, weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, etc., they are told that everything is normal. Frustrating, I know. There are several reasons for this. Routine blood chemistries, normally done at your yearly physical, are typically missing important markers, so they don't really tell the whole story. In addition, most lab ranges are generally way too wide, making almost any marker appear in the normal range, and you're declared normal when you actually are not. This is how subclinical issues that are common in menopause get missed, making it harder for you to reach your weight shedding and wellness goals. This is obviously not the way we want to go. A blood chemistry designed specifically for the menopausal years is the most necessary component of your wellness story, as it serves as a screening as well as a guide to finding your root causes and what to focus on. I've included this full version in your workbook so you can take it off to your next doctor's appointment and hopefully get this done. But to be effective, it has to contain specific markers that often go astray in the menopausal years, such as blood sugar markers, your fasting glucose, fasting insulin, and hemoglobin A1C, which is a 2 to 3 month picture of your blood sugar control. It should contain a female hormone panel, to look for imbalances, a DHEA sulfite, which is a marker for adrenal fatigue if low. Leptin resistance leptin is a hormone produced by the fat cells in your body. Its main role is to regulate fat storage and how many calories you eat and burn. People who are overweight have high levels of leptin, but the leptin signal isn't working due to a condition known as leptin resistance. Leptin resistance can cause hunger and reduce the number of calories you burn. Lastly, but definitely not least, a complete thyroid panel. It is very common for our thyroids to start becoming sluggish due to the decline of estrogen and increased cortisol. A regular routine blood chemistry usually only tests for 2 thyroid markers, which don't even begin to tell the whole story. It's so important to have a complete panel to be able to identify a subclinical issue. And this blood chemistry is the only test that I absolutely require my clients to do. In most cases, you can get most of it done at your doctor's office. And if needed, there are several online labs that will provide the specialty markers at a very reasonable cost. And as I said, I've included the full version of this in your workbook. Next slide, please. Root cause functional medicine testing. The following is a representation of the functional medicine testing that I use in my practice to help me identify the most common root causes of my clients' weight loss and wellness issues, especially in menopause. The information we receive from this testing is so important because not only does it help to reveal personal root causes, but it provides a roadmap and a solid protocol to eliminating them. No wasting time and money by guessing. This information is also included in your workbook, and if you're interested in finding out more, you can click on the link for each test to get more information. Next slide, please. I wanted to share with you some of the supplements and products that I use in my practice and have found to be really, really helpful. You'll find this list in your workbook as well. Next slide, please. Okay, who is up for a challenge? You didn't think there wasn't going to be some work to do after this, did you? Okay, next slide. Here's the roadmap for your hormone balancing belly shedding challenge. It contains all the important action steps we've touched on in this presentation and is a great way to get started shedding that stubborn hormonal weight gain and to finally feeling like yourself again. So I've included this in your workbook. I don't want to waste time reading the whole thing. I'm just going to recap that we're going to make a mindset change. We're going to eat clean. We're going to eliminate digestively unfriendly belly bloating foods. We're going to show your gut, liver, and adrenals some love. We're going to make sure to hydrate. We're going to do our best to de-stress, and we're going to really try to optimize our sleep. By making these small but really impactful dietary and lifestyle adjustments, you should see a noticeable reduction in bloat and an increase in your energy levels in just 1 week. Additionally, you may also notice a decrease in hot flashes and mood swings, improved mental clarity, and better sleep quality. So, um, just a few important points. I've included a daily meal template in your workbook. You can plug foods from your hormone balancing foods list to create your meals and snacks. And again, both of those are in your workbook. Next slide, please. Okay, well, what's next? Now that you've watched this entire presentation, and thank you for that, and have a better feeling for what's going on in your body and how to start reversing your symptoms, here is your plan for moving forward. You're going to take the hormone balancing belly shedding challenge to the best of your ability for 2 weeks. That's it. That's all the time you need to start seeing positive changes. Then I would strongly recommend continuing with the plan, adding foods slowly back in, and journaling your reaction to them, which is how you feel after eating them and if they cause weight gain. This process greatly increases your awareness and is the most accurate way of assessing which foods work for you and which foods don't. For example, you may add a gluten-containing grain back in and feel no difference at all. Yippee, you can keep that in your diet. Or you may feel tired, bloated, and headachy, in which case you would keep gluten out of your diet for a while longer and then retest. Same goes for dairy. It's best to keep the foods on the hormonally unfriendly foods list to a minimum, or you'll have a hard time maintaining any progress you have made. Once completed, if you would like to dive in deeper than this presentation allows, next slide, please.
Oh, that's for some reason, that's my only. There it goes.
Go. Please visit me. It's the most important slide. Please visit me at jackiejustice.com to make an appointment or for more information on my programs. You can also sign up for my monthly newsletter and follow me on Instagram. Thanks so much for being here today. I wish you all the best on your wellness journey. Shed on, my sisters. And now, Casey, do we have
Yeah,
any questions in
we
the
have
chat?
some great questions.
Oh,
I'm going to start back up. Actually, Teresa and Maria, I think, had similar questions. Maria wanted to know if you have any recommendations for a good probiotic, or do you feel like they're all the same?
oh no, I sure do. I have an online store, which you'll see in the workbook. Where I sell only professional grade supplements. They're really cutting edge and the best on the market. I've been with the same company for my entire practice, which is about 28 years. For a probiotic, I absolutely love their ProBio Woman. It's made for us women in mind. It's special for us, and it contains bacteria that's important not only for our gut health, but also for our vaginal health. So that would be my number one recommendation, ProBiomed Woman. And it is a once a day dosage. And I actually like to recommend taking it at night.
And do
Okay.
you have the same, do you have a specific recommendation for an enzyme?
Yes. The one that I recommend is called Digest Zymes. That one contains HCl, which is stomach acid, which is really, really important, but not everyone, because of, certain situations can take that. So there's another one that I recommend, and it's in the workbook, you'll see.
Great.
Um, Paleozyme. It's a plant-based enzyme that doesn't contain any HCl.
Great.
And that
Um,
again, that is a one capsule before each meal that contains some protein.
Perfect. And then I've got some questions on eating. So Wendy asked, how many grams of protein a day do you recommend?
Well, it depends on you. It depends on your weight. It depends on your activity level. So right now, the recommendations, and I know this is going to seem high, but it's really like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I know that seems high. I usually tell my clients to aim for, to start off by aiming for like 80 to 100 grams of protein a day, and see how you feel, and then go from there if you need to. But it's no joke. We need more protein. We need to keep that muscle, lean body mass on as we age because it really takes a nosedive. And then we really can't burn off any kind of fat without that muscle. Plus, who wants to walk around with slack muscles?
Right. I think this is our last question. Jenny wanted to know regarding sugar. Um, do you count total sugars or added sugars? And is there a recommended target? Do you have a target of grams of sugar that
So I would say you really want to stay away from the added sugars. That was a really great question. You really want to stay away from the added sugars. So I'm not counting fruit. But with that being said, if you're having, 8 pieces of fruit a day, you're probably not making that much progress because even though it's not added and it's natural and it comes with all these great nutrients and fiber and everything, in the end, it's still sugar. It's not added sugar, but it's still sugar, and your body kind of treats it similarly. So again, I'm not counting added fruit as added sugars, but you want to make sure that, I have this information in the workbook. You kind of want to stick to about 3 pieces of fruit a day to start.
great?
And I answered that question.
Yes, Stephanie just asked recommendations for suitable carbs.
And again, that's going to be in the workbook, but I'll say it now. So, for complex carbs, first you want to look at starchy vegetables. Why? Because they pack the most bang for your nutritional buck. Just look at them. Look at a sweet potato. It is such a beautiful, vibrant color, which is an indicator that there are a lot of nutrients in that sweet potato. There's also a lot of fiber in complex starchy vegetables. So first we go for the complex veggies, which sweet potatoes, yams, winter squash, artichoke, and I kind of include like beets and carrots in there too because they're high in sugar. So those, and from then we go on to our beans, legumes, lentils, things like that, and then last we go to the gluten-free whole grains, like quinoa. Quinoa is great because it's a whole grain, it's gluten-free, and it's a complete protein. So that would be my choice for a um, complex grain.
Ooh, Teresa asked, what do you think about drinking kombucha?
Ooh,
She said
okay.
she drinks GT Synergy, which often uses kiwi juice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So with a kombucha, you really just want to really find the lowest sugar content, and kiwi juice is fine. And with kombucha, I love it. It's great for your gut, but some people can't tolerate it. Um, some people that have an intestinal issue like SIBO really feel bad when they drink kombucha because you already have an overgrowth of bacteria in your small intestine where it shouldn't be to begin with. And then that kombucha really, is not tolerated very well. But I do like kombucha otherwise. In fact, in some of my mocktails, in my kick-ass mocktail mule, I use the ginger kombucha instead of ginger beer, and it's amazing. Okay. Any more
That's a
questions?
great segue to recommending the newsletter again, because you do send out recipes in the newsletters.
I do. I do. I have lots of recipes on Instagram,
Yeah.
and my monthly newsletter always has some great recipe in it.
Wonderful. I
So
that's all the questions we have in the chat. So I popped your email address in if anybody has any additional questions. And I think everything is going to be in
and
order.
it and again, this session was recorded, so as soon as we, do a little editing on it and clean it up, we will send it off to you. And are we sending the workbook with that
Yes.
or okay,
Yeah, I
okay,
can pop it into the chat now as well. So
okay.
if anybody
Thanks.
wants to
Take it
download
away.
it directly from the chat here, you can do that. But if you don't get a chance to, we will be sending it out with the recording, so you can get it there as well.
Okay. Thanks so much, everyone. This has been great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you sometime, some of you tomorrow at the open house.
Oh, fun.
Shed on, my sisters.